catch that fish?
Bottle of alcohol, and then there's a bunch of gun shells. There's a gun cartridge there.
So yeah, I'm fucking out of here.
I don't have my bear spray on me. It's on the other side of my car. Bear!
There's a really, really weird noise coming from.
They say bad things happen in threes, and I'm not looking forward to the third thing.
It was August 10th, 2020, when outdoor YouTuber Ethan Price set out on what was supposed to be a peaceful day of creek fishing with his father. The destination, a remote waterway in Illinois, far removed from traffic, noise, or any expectation of danger. The goal was simple: wade into the shallows, cast a few lures, and enjoy the calm. They were hoping for some smallmouth bass, maybe even a rainbow trout or two. Ethan started the video with his usual energy.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, me and my dad are wading this creek. We're out in Illinois today, hopefully going after some smallmouth. There's even a few rainbows in here, so starting with all kinds of lures, literally anything. He's got a rooster tail on. I'm gonna try some of everything just to see what'll bite. Hopefully we can get on some of these smallie jumps.
Father and son joked as they waded deeper into the clear waters. They were surrounded by towering canyon walls, with no one else in sight. The setting couldn't have been more perfect: isolated, quiet, and beautiful, a kind of natural escape that only fishing in the wild can offer. As they continued upstream, Ethan switched lures and commented on the size of the fish, mostly modest, but the occasional bigger catch gave them hope. The camera captured not just the fish, but also the peaceful back and forth between father and son.
We got the first smallie on the rooster tail. Sweet. Nice fish though. First one. Randy's hooked up with the second smallie of the day. I'm still nothing. Big mouth Billy Bass. That ain't a bad one. He's gonna have. He's okay. Dad's second fish. Yeah, there's not a lot of big ones in here, but I have heard that there can be. But typically the size, I think, is about 12 inches. Incredible canyon walls. This place is beautiful. It's RW Dot. He's got 2 smallies so far and I still got nothing. Spot number 1 into with 2 fish. Now we're gonna go upstream a bit and hopefully we can get into some smallies that way. Got the rooster tail on now. We'll see if we can get it done. That's what my dad caught his 2 on, so hopefully we can get one. There's one. First smallie, yippee. First smallie is very small. First smallmouth, just a little squeaker. There he goes. I already knew coming into this that the size was not really a thing, but the numbers was what was supposed to be terrific. I wouldn't say it's too bad so far. 3. There's one. What do we got? Oh, just a dinky little smallie. Holy smokes. That is terrible hook placement. I don't know if I snagged it or what. Right species, wrong size. Second smallmouth of the day is very, very small. Second one. Boom. Oh yeah. That might be the biggest one so far. Yeah, that's a good one. There we go. That one pulled like a 8-inch smallmouth. Not the biggest. They're getting a little better though. Off he goes. Finally starting to catch some fish now. Deep holes, that's the key. Gotta find those deep holes, throw in there and work the bottom. A lot of rocks in here, so structure's a big one too. Oh, there's one. That is a nice fish. That's a really big smallie, Paul. It's beautiful too. Oh man, has he been caught before? First nice smallmouth of the day. Paul got one too.
Show off.
You got to get in the frame, dude. It's okay to be close. Alrighty, big boy's going back. This is probably a 14-inch smallie. Boom. That's cool.
But around midday, something changed. Loud gunshots suddenly echoed through the canyon, startling, sharp, and close. At first, they tried brushing it off. Maybe someone was target shooting nearby. Maybe there was a range in the area. After all, there was no signage, no fences, nothing indicating private land. But the shots continued, sporadic, irregular, too close for comfort. Then came the real shift.
You gonna catch that fish? Where's your gun range? That scared the crap out of me. Well, that's the first. I guess. Well, good luck, there's no service. That's probably why they're shooting guns. And what are you gonna do, shoot us?
A man appeared. He was loud, angry, and confrontational. The man accused them of trespassing, threatened to call the police, and made it very clear they were not welcome. This wasn't a debate. It was a standoff. There was no cell service, no nearby help, and despite the fact that they were fishing a public waterway, the man insisted otherwise, implying ownership of the land and access around it. He made no effort to hide his agitation.
Well, those gunshots, I'm assuming, were the grumpy guy that came down here and told us to beat it, so apparently you can own the river, and he's calling the police. So, no big deal. We were backing out anyways. We're like 2 miles from the truck. So, hopefully the police meet us there. We'll see. It'll be good either way. Hey, catching any? A few. It's a little slow, but caught any big ones? Really? Wow, we even fished that. Be careful, there's some clown up there shooting and screaming at people. Apparently we're trespassing if we're in the river. He called the police, or he said he was going to, so. Probably a mile. There's a sign on a tree to the left. We thought it said gun range, but apparently it says, like, we'll shoot you if you come here, so.
Aren't people floating the river?
I don't know. Yeah, good luck, man.
Ethan and his father quickly realized the smartest move was to leave. It didn't matter who was technically right. They were miles from their truck, alone, and now in a confrontation with someone who might be armed and who clearly didn't want them there. As they made their way back downstream, the gunshots didn't stop. Whether it was unrelated target practice or meant to intimidate them, they couldn't be sure, but the message was loud and clear. Later, further down the trail, they passed other hikers who mentioned seeing a sign nailed to a tree. Whether that sign was legal didn't matter. Whether the man had a right to be angry didn't matter. The fear was real. The danger felt personal. Ethan and his father had gone fishing expecting nothing more than a quiet day together. What they got instead was a vivid reminder that not all threats come from nature. Out in the wilderness, miles from the nearest help, a single angry person can change everything. Nick and Julie, known for their calm and scenic truck camping adventures, had no idea that their visit to Kentucky's Red River Gorge would lead to one of the most unsettling experiences they'd ever captured on camera. Their content typically radiates peace, trails stretching into soft, forested silence. But this video was different. this trip shook them. It all began normally.
Hi guys, welcome to a new video. We're in the Red River Gorge in Kentucky, heading up to the Natural Bridge on their skylift. This is so cool. I like this hike up to the bridge. We just came from all the way back there.
This is way more than 100 feet.
The couple was excited to explore the Natural Bridge area, one of Kentucky's most iconic geological features. Riding up on the skylift, they admired the massive stone formation and the sprawling view it offered of the gorge below. As they stood atop the bridge, they noticed how precarious it really was. No rails, no fencing, just slippery sandstone and a steep drop on either side.
To be the top of the Natural Bridge, and there's no fencing or anything. And it's actually pretty slippery because it's sandstone.
Yeah, there's
no railing, nothing.
You just slide off.
I did not know that this was Kentucky.
Yeah. I don't travel Kentucky much.
No. Wow.
From there, they made their way through a narrow rock formation called Fat Man Squeeze, laughing as they maneuvered sideways and removed their backpacks to squeeze through. It was the kind of exploration that had always been part of their charm.
Going from the skylift down, we actually get a reveal of the giant arch, the giant natural bridge here. Check this out.
The heat of the July day was tempered by the beauty of the forest. They hiked down through rhododendron-filled paths, breathing in pine and marveling at the blooms still clinging to the season.
We're gonna get to the camper and then we're gonna head out and try to find a spot for the night. Since we've never been here before, it might take a little bit of time to find a good spot. And here in Daniel Boone National Forest, you are allowed to camp in the forest. You just need to get a permit, which we did earlier today.
Once back at the truck, the pair drove into the Daniel Boone National Forest in search of a quiet place to camp. With a legal permit already secured, they eventually found a secluded spot beside a creek.
It's about 7 o'clock in the evening and we finally found a spot to spend the night at. You can maybe see the camper peeking through behind me, and there's a creek by us. It's so quiet and peaceful here. All you hear is the creek and the birds. So it's time to get started on dinner.
The evening was closing in. It was nearly 7 p.m., but the setting was perfect. Peaceful, or so it seemed. Tucked into the nearby trees were bottles of alcohol, oddly stuffed into hollow holes. On the ground lay bright, unfaded shotgun shells and glinting fragments of broken glass. Tire tracks, deep, looping ones, were visible in the mud, suggesting recent ATV or truck activity.
Some things are kind of sketchy around here. First of all, there's a bottle of alcohol in the tree. And then there's a bunch of gun shells. There's a shotgun shell. There's a gun cartridge there. There's some broken glass. There's another gun cartridge.
It was clear the area had been used for more than just camping. Dinner needed to be made. Julie started cooking while Nick recorded a few final shots of the forest. And then 2 four-wheelers emerged from the woods. Not in passing, not with friendly waves. The riders stopped directly in front of their truck and camper and did nothing. They just stood there for nearly 20 minutes. No words were exchanged, no explanation offered, and there was no phone signal. Whatever the visitors' intentions were, their presence shattered any sense of safety. There was no threat spoken, no direct confrontation, but sometimes silence is more unnerving than shouting.
While we were making dinner, some 2 four-wheelers drove up from the woods, and they kind of just parked in front of our truck and camper, and they just stood there for about how long it was? A good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what that was all about.
Yeah, they already left, but I don't know if I want to stay here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth the risk or whatever, just in case.
Yeah, we're not sure what it was all about.
Yeah.
If it was just, they're just standing there for no reason, or if they just don't want people staying here.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not
they
sure.
didn't say anything. They just parked in front of the truck.
Yeah, so it's just
for
kind
20
of weird.
minutes.
There's no service here,
Yeah,
and it's just in the middle of the woods. There's no one here, so we don't know what that was all about.
I think it's best to just pack up and leave at this point, just in case. Who knows? Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So we're gonna clean up our stuff and head out. Oh, too bad. It's all right. Whatever.
The couple packed quickly, leaving behind their intended night of stargazing and campfire meals. They drove off into the dark, not knowing where they'd sleep, only certain that anywhere else would feel safer than there. What was it about this encounter that disturbed them so deeply? Was it the abandoned ammunition, the bottles in the trees, or the silent, inexplicable presence of those strangers? Maybe it was all of it. Maybe it was the feeling that in some places you're not meant to stay, even if you have a permit. Jenna Alexis was no stranger to solo bushcraft camping. Her YouTube channel had built a loyal following based on her calm, methodical approach to wilderness survival. She didn't go looking for drama, she went for solitude. And that's what she thought she'd find on her trip to Crown Land, deep in the Canadian wilderness.
My winter sleeping bag is huge, which is why you're seeing my backpack look so big. So I'm out here on Crown Land, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a bushcraft camp out today. I have my backpack with my sleeping kit and my cooking kit. I have my tarp and some pegs, and I have the forest all to myself. The river's definitely not frozen yet, so I'm walking over these logs to get across because there's a couple dead trees over there that I'm looking at taking down. I do like to follow the tree in the direction it's already leaning, and I knew that I had this dead fallen tree in my way, but the plan is to just kind of cut it at the halfway so both halves of this one come down. I'm looking for fat wood because the sap and the resin inside the fat wood is very flammable, and that's going to help me start my fire. There's a great example right here. It's easy to find fat wood when you look for like broken little nubs of branches like this, because when the tree is broken or like injured, it'll send all the sap and resin into the broken spot to protect itself from like disease or parasites or whatever. That little chunk of wood is going to be super resinous, and the resin is very flammable, which is what we want. I'm hiking this a bit of a ways away from camp so that it's not near my sleeping area. And we just have to find a thick enough tree. The tree has to be a big enough diameter so that the bear can't get through it. Ta-da!
Her setup was by the book. She selected only deadfall for firewood, hung her food bag high and away from camp using a bare rope, pitched her tarp low and hidden from the trail. Everything was exactly how she liked it, calculated, quiet, and off-grid. Then the white SUV showed up.
Okay, goodbye to the campsite that once almost was. I don't think I left anything. Barely got everything in my bag because I didn't like fold everything properly. I'm just trying to get out of here. I have half my stuff in my food bag. It's gonna be okay. He's not here right now. Like, this is where he pulled out to, and he literally took a look at me and turned around and pulled out. But I know it was the same car. It was like a white SUV with a bag over the back of his window, and he turned around and I saw that same bag. So yeah, I'm fucking out of here.
It pulled into the small clearing near where she'd parked her own vehicle. A man stepped out, mid-30s, average build, and claimed he was looking for something he'd left behind with his girlfriend on a past trip. Jenna stayed inside her van, windows cracked just enough to hear him, but not enough to be seen. She didn't respond. Something about him didn't sit right. His story was vague. The timing was odd. And most of all, why there? This spot wasn't easy to find. It wasn't on any map, and she'd gone out of her way to avoid main trails. After a few minutes, the man drove off, but Jenna didn't relax.
Just to explain what just happened there. This morning, I got here pretty early, and I pulled out to the spot that I thought was going to be my spot for the night, and I was getting my backpack, getting ready to leave the car, when this white SUV pulled up, and this guy walked out, and he walked up to my campsite, or where my car was parked, and he was like, "Hey, me and my girlfriend were here this morning, and I left something, I'm just going to go look for it." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But I wanted to wait inside the van until he got back out of the woods and left, so that I knew he wasn't like still out there, and that he wouldn't know where I was going to hike to. So I was waiting in the car for like a while, and it started to get suspicious that he was like out in the woods for that long, and so I walked walked up to his car, first of all to get the license plate, but also to see if his girlfriend was actually in there. But the windows were like heavily tinted to the point that I couldn't even see in. But I walked like up and around the car, so I would assume if the girlfriend was in there, she would have like saw me and been like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? So I walked around the car, I couldn't see if there was someone inside. I got the license plate and I went back to my car, and I just got a bad feeling from that. So I drove my van up to another campsite. I don't like, even if that man meant no harm, like I don't like when somebody, especially a man, knows where I am when I'm in the woods alone, or knows that I'm in the woods alone in the first place. Obviously my boyfriend always knows where I am and where I'm going, but when I'm out here, I don't like bumping into people, especially if it's just a guy on his own, because then he knows that I'm alone and he knows where I am and he knows that I'm vulnerable in the woods. I don't like that. So I was already on edge all day debating if I even wanted to camp out, but I basically, like I said, I drove my van all the way to a new spot. I hid it in the trees and I hiked like away from my van, so I wasn't even on the same trail as I was like parked near. And then the rest of the day went fine. The sky was beautiful, the weather was great, I was having a great time out there, got a lot done. And then like 4 p.m. rolls around and I see that same car. I know it was the same car because when I looked at the license plate, I saw his back window was gone and he just had like a garbage bag over it. And I saw a white SUV pull up in the distance, and then I saw it like stop where I'm pretty sure he saw me, and then he turned around and left, and as he was leaving I saw that like garbage bag on the back. I was very uneasy, like why did I see that man twice? Why did I never see his girlfriend that he mentioned? Why was he driving around a bunch of different campsites all day? I also don't like the vibe I got from him in the first place, and I just needed to get out of here.
Jenna stuffed her gear back into her pack, tarp still wet, stakes still muddy. There was no thought of staying. She hiked back in near silence, constantly checking behind her. Once in her van, she drove without stopping until she hit pavement again. She never found out who he was. She never found out if he was alone. But she never forgot how fast a peaceful trip can turn into a tactical escape. The forest doesn't just test your survival skills. Sometimes it tests your instincts. On June 17, 2025, a solo traveler known online as Nomad Unknown uploaded a raw and revealing video documenting a major shift in her lifestyle. After spending 8 uninterrupted months living out of her vehicle, traveling the backroads of America, she found herself mentally and emotionally drained. In response, she entered what she called her dirtbag era, a phase defined by longer stays in remote wilderness areas, fewer distractions, and more time spent alone.
I always like to have the most private side. I know a lot of people say back in for safety so you can pull away. Like, dude, if somebody's blocking me in, does it make more sense to ram them with the front of my car or the back of my car? Back of my car. That wasn't a question. Front end damage, I might not be able to drive anymore. Back end damage, probably can still drive.
She spoke candidly on camera about how she always preferred to park backed in, not for a fast getaway, but because her cooking setup was at the back. If something were to go wrong, she reasoned, she'd rather damage the back of the car than risk ruining the front end and becoming stranded. Her tone was practical, even a little defiant. It was clear she had thought through her routines in great detail.
This camp feels nice and relaxing. And as much as I adored my time in the Grand Tetons, I realized that I had pushed my luck solo camping in grizzly country a little too far. And I actually had an extremely close call my last night in the Tetons with a grizzly that stood within 6 feet of me while I was unprotected. The other night I was ever so casually standing at the back of my car. I wasn't actually cooking, I was just troubleshooting something on my phone because I was trying to upload a video. I had my chair back there just hanging out like I usually do, and something caught the corner of my eye, and I looked up, and about 10 feet away from me, moving towards me, was a full-grown grizzly bear. By time I rounded the corner to put the car in between me and the bear, it was probably like 6 feet away from me. Utter panic.
As she stood behind her car, relaxed, focused on her phone, trying to troubleshoot a video upload, she noticed something shift in her peripheral vision. A shadow, movement, something big. She looked up. 10 feet away, closing the distance with unnerving calm, was a full-grown grizzly bear.
I don't have my bear spray on me. It's on the other side of my car. Oh my God. Bear! Bear in camp. Oh my God.
In that moment, there was no time to analyze, no time to calculate. Pure instinct took over. She dropped what she was doing and rushed around the vehicle, placing it between herself and the bear. As she moved, the bear moved too, closing in, reducing the space between them to just 6 feet. She had no bear spray in her hand. It was on the opposite side of the car, useless in that moment. All she could do was focus on staying calm, resisting the urge to run. Her body wanted to flee, but her mind screamed to hold still, to avoid triggering a chase response. She slowed her steps, steadied her breath, and forced herself to turn and face the animal.
I feel like this bear was trying to attack me. No, but I also didn't feel like it was just like totally cool with me. And so I wanted to run, and I did start like moving kind of quickly. And then I had to catch myself to slow down because I was like, you are giving chase right now. Like, stop, slow down, and turn around. So I did. So the video's a little bit all over the place, but at that point, I know that the boys had their bear spray in their hand and their car was open, and I just thought I will jump in their car if I need to right now because I was defenseless.
After the bear disappeared into the woods, she remained alert. The other campers, aware of the threat, welcomed her to move her car closer to their group for safety. That small gesture gave her a sense of security she hadn't realized she'd lost.
Yeah, so immediately after I was just like shaking, and kindly some of the other campers just shouted at me like, "Are you okay?" And I was okay, but I did end up moving my car down towards them at the in the end of it. They invited me to come sleep closer to them. There was people there sleeping. They're in tents, and I don't know how much sleep they got. If I was staying in a tent, there's no way I would have gotten any sleep. That's why even like right here, I have my tent set up, but I sleep in my car just because it's secure, it's locked, it feels 1,000 times more safer than being in a tent in the front country and in grizzly territory. So
later, in her debrief, she compared the encounter to other close calls she'd had in the wild, like stepping inches from rattlesnakes. But something about the bear encounter was different, more primal, more immediate. Her body had taken over before her mind could catch up. She left viewers with one key lesson: bear spray should never be stored. It should be within arm's reach, always. Because when things go wrong, they go wrong fast. Solo camping offers a kind of peace that's hard to find anywhere else. But as she learned that night, peace and peril can live side by side in the forest. And sometimes all that separates the two is 6 feet. On May 21st, 2025, a video was uploaded to the YouTube channel Eleanor Grace Adventures, a solo traveler known for her peaceful hikes, wild swims, and serene solo camps across the UK. The channel rarely features anything unsettling, but in this particular video, what began as a simple hike to an old quarry in Dartmoor National Park gradually spiraled into something far more haunting.
Good evening, everyone. You're joining me on the way. Well, we already are on Dartmoor, but we're heading somewhere that I've never been to before, but I really, really wanted to check out this evening. And that is how this happened. we're off. Got my coffee. Beautiful grey evening in the middle of Dartmoor. I wanted to do an evening hike and I was looking on my All Trails app for somewhere really nice on Dartmoor. I also wanted to check out the area I'm in for the possibility of doing a wild camp on a tour somewhere, because I've never actually done one like properly before in the actual wild. And Dartmoor, yeah, Dartmoor would be very interesting to say the least. Whilst I was checking out my All Trails app, I came across this place. And it's an old mining quarry, which is literally, now I'm not too sure if it's this one or there.
Using her All Trails app, she had discovered an old, abandoned quarry hidden deep within Dartmoor's vast expanse. A place she'd never been before, but one that many described online as weirdly beautiful. It was remote, surrounded by rugged land and broken ruins from a long-lost mining era. And to Eleanor, it sounded perfect.
She could have just avoided it, but no, she goes right through it. People have said that it's a very unusual and cool looking place to go for a wild swim. You know me, right? If there's a very weird or cool or beautiful place for me to take a dip, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it's over there. I'm literally like sat in so much animal poo right now. I'm missing it by like that much. This is really deep, boggy grass. I was sunk down to my knees just now. I was like, whoa, I'm getting closer though. Oh look, I don't want to get close to them because I don't want to scare them. She's got a little one with her. And you're just peering at me from behind that bush. Hello. This place is very Tomb Raider. I think that's why I like it. Yeah, I know you do too. It's all right. I don't want to get kicked in the face by a sheep. Oh. It's all right. It's okay. Hello.
The hike started pleasantly, though the terrain grew increasingly boggy. Instead of detouring, Eleanor, always curious, pressed forward through deep mud, along old stone walls and past crumbling ruins.
Oh, you have... You have got to be kidding me. What a hidden gem. Oh, bless him. Right, I'm just gonna stand still and let him run. It's quite eerie, actually. Yeah, I don't... Hello? 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 Yeah, I don't think that there is anyone else here, apart from the sheep. I really do want to get in there. I'm gonna go for it. How cold are we talking? It's not too bad. I'm gonna get over there. It's a little bit cold, it's not too bad though. We're being joined by sheep. I'm gonna have to move my bags just in case they try and eat it. I've got no shoes on, ignore the hairy legs. And I'm climbing over rocks. Oh God. The rocks are quite high and jagged, it's not overly deep. So you've got to be careful where you're putting your legs, really, or kicking your legs to swim. Oh, this is so nice, though.
Eventually, Eleanor reached the quarry, a hidden gem, she called it. Framed by jagged rock, mossy ledges, and tall reeds, the site was hauntingly still. The only movement came from distant sheep grazing nearby. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was oppressive. She noted how eerie it felt, how it reminded her of a Tomb Raider setting. Yet, despite the unease, she was determined to swim.
Loads and loads of like planes and military helicopters and stuff above me. There's a really, really weird noise coming from up there. I don't know if someone's wild camping and pumping up something, because that's what I can hear. It sounds like that, either that or it's extremely loud, heavy panting. God, I hope it's someone wild camping.
Anyway.
Dartmoor is like a military training base. They do a lot of training around here basically, so I had to check the times for when they were doing that. There's various areas on Dartmoor where you can wild camp, and this falls under one of the legal areas you can do it.
She mentioned she was considering camping out here someday and wanted to assess the landscape. But Dartmoor, she reminded viewers, was no ordinary camping ground. It's one of the few places in England where wild camping is legal, but also one with a long, strange history, including military testing grounds and mysterious disappearances.
That was a bit risky than getting undressed and then dressed, trying to keep my towel around me. I did keep hearing that noise, so I don't know what it was. It could have been an animal. Typical YouTube video. Oh, I went somewhere really strange and there was someone watching me. Until actually, you know, that happens and then I'm screwed because I have to put that video up. I don't know if I can get down here. Oh no, I can. Where's the car park? It's in the distance over there. No, how do I get down? Oh my God, I didn't even know that was there. Where the hell is the car? It's beautiful. I did bring this. But oh God. Ah! Whoa. I just put my foot in that. I'm gonna really have to watch my step. Oh, where's the bloody car?
She quickly finished her swim and dressed behind the rocks, but the sound didn't fade. In fact, it seemed louder, closer. As darkness crept in, Eleanor began her return hike, but something was wrong. The trail back was unrecognizable. The reeds had shifted, the bogs were deeper than before, and she found herself knee-deep in muck, second-guessing every step. The stream she had crossed was nearly hidden now. For a moment, she was completely lost. Eventually, after backtracking through the bog and using her All Trails app to retrace her steps, she emerged near her car, drenched, shaken, but relieved.
I want to talk about last night. Oh, here we go. I'm probably going to get people like, you're clickbaiting. I love it how like people immediately think you're clickbaiting because like, where's the evidence of your suffering? Dartmoor in itself, it's very vast, very big. There's a lot of beautiful places. There's a lot of ancient monuments. There's a lot of all that stuff going on. For the vast majority, it looks like this, okay? So there's a lot of tors and woodlands and forests and stuff like that thrown in, which is absolutely gorgeous too. In some places on Dartmoor, yes, it does feel a little bit eerie. And I don't know if it's because I was completely alone. Like a part of me wishes I had someone with me so that I could ask them how they felt about it. But then again, I might not have got the same experience because, you know, when you're on your own, you're not distracted. You're just you there in the environment in the present moment. I do like to think there's an explanation for a lot of these things, but I'll be honest, that place was eerie as hell. And I don't know if it's because of the noises I heard or just the overall vibe itself, but even more so than the place where I actually swam, this place is where I felt it the most. I've never felt anything, actually, no, that's a lie. There's only one other place that I felt that before. And that's a place that I did a video in a few years ago called Kennel Vale. It felt like there were eyes on me, multiple eyes on me in that quarry last night. But I had no idea where they were. I kept looking behind me. That bit there with the sheep and the bit of ruin it was so strong. Like it was so strong. Towards the end when I was on my way back, that's why I was saying like, where's the car, where am I looking? And I couldn't wait to leave because it was even stronger when I went to leave. It was like, I don't want to be here. What I do find fascinating as well is that, and I've just realized, is that both that quarry and Kennel Vale were mining places. Kennel Vale actually had multiple explosions over the years, which led to a lot of deaths. That's why that place is known to be haunted. Something was off. That was a stronger feeling more than any haunted hotel that I've been in, more than any haunted place that I've explored. All my hairs on my arms were stood up. Like it had a feeling of just dread. And I kind of do want to try Kennel Vale again, even though I promised myself that I would never return there. Obviously you can't feel the feelings that I was because you weren't there, it's on camera. But yeah, would you do it? Would you go there? Would you swim there? Would you wild camp there?
Later that evening, Parked in the safety of her father's driveway, Eleanor opened up. The feeling hadn't left her. Even now, hours later, she felt like something had been watching her. From the ridge, from behind the quarry ruins, from the reeds, she compared the oppressive atmosphere to another place she had once filmed, Kennel Vale, an abandoned mining site with a dark history of fatal accidents and ghostly legends. Both sites, Kennel Vale and the hidden Dartmoor Quarry, had one thing in common: a crushing, invisible presence. Not like a jump scare, not like a ghost story, but something deeper, more ancient, and more terrifying. Eleanor ended the video by reminding her viewers, when something feels wrong, listen to that feeling. Some places are beautiful, yes, but some are beautiful for a reason, because no one dares disturb them. She doesn't plan to return to that quarry, and after watching her footage, neither would we. Cassie and her partner Bradley were deep into their cross-country trip across Canada. Vanlifers and vloggers, they were used to wild terrain, unpredictable weather, and minor setbacks. On this particular night, they had just arrived at a remote stop in the Yukon. It was freezing, the temperature had dropped significantly, and their gas heater had failed, leaving the inside of their van cold and unwelcoming. To make things worse, their tire had gone flat, and every service station nearby was either closed or hours away from reopening. With no heat and no help, they bundled up in blankets and tried to get some sleep, completely unaware of what the night had in store for them.
So just when I thought this vlog would be pretty drama-free, we have our gas system has cut out. We thought, oh, maybe we ran out of gas, but we haven't. So it means it's not lighting. None of the gas is working. We're back in the cold, so we actually need the gas. Not only that, we drove into a tire stop, Integra Tire, I think it's called, to what are we doing? Fill up the gas, and then turns out we have a flat tire, which is convenient because we're at a tire shop, but they're closed for the day. So they said we can park overnight here on the premises, and they'll fix it in the morning. They say bad things happen in threes, and I'm not looking forward to the third thing. Brad gets to look under in a very dirty ground. See if you can find any issues.
Okay, yes, this is us for the night. I don't know if you can hear that, or if you can see it bubbling out. You can definitely tell she's on her way down, so I'm guessing by morning that'll be flat. So if I look a bit rough, be under the van. Here's the thing. We were literally saying this morning. Literally today we were saying this. We haven't had to use our gas in weeks because it's been so amazing. But now it's cold. And of course the gas doesn't have to die on a day when it's this cold. So we're going to be literally in the van freezing our asses off tonight. I mean, we can buy food, that's no big deal, but
It's just annoying.
yeah, it's just really annoying. Like the tire and then the gas.
Let it stop there.
Yeah.
Sometime around midnight, while both were half asleep inside the van, Cassie heard something. The distinct sound of someone trying the handle on the back door. At first, she dismissed it. It could have been wind, but then it happened again and again. This wasn't a random bump. Someone was deliberately trying to get into their van. Bradley sat up, immediately alert. The two whispered to each other, debating whether to turn on the lights. Cassie decided to peek through the curtain, and that's when she saw it. A dark-colored car idling just a few feet away. The engine was running, headlights off, and inside, a man sat staring at them until he realized she was watching. He quickly turned away, almost pretending not to notice.
So we literally just had someone, I don't know what time it is. It's like
Midnight.
It's midnight, and someone tried to open the van door. Obviously, we're in the middle of nowhere in the Yukon, but yeah, they tried to open it, so
There's other RVs like next to us.
Yeah.
There's a massive RV next to us.
Brad jumped in the front literally, and we just started like driving away. Yeah, don't know where the fucker went. Wow. Yeah, so there's like another car sitting, like we were sitting parked up top, and there's another car, and this is actually right outside a campsite, sitting there with the lights on, and I'm pretty certain that like they're together, because I guess the plan would have been to open up the door take whatever there was. My camera was there. Stupid, I know. But we are in the middle of nowhere, so.
Bradley quietly slid into the driver's seat and turned the ignition. He didn't wait to see what would happen next. With one sharp turn, they pulled out of the gravel area and sped off into the dark. They didn't speak for miles. Even though they were safe in that moment, the thought lingered. What if they hadn't heard the sound? What if they'd fallen asleep harder? What would have happened then? They'll never know for sure. No confrontation happened. No damage. No faces clearly seen. Just a series of sounds, a figure in a dark car, and the unmistakable sense that something wasn't right. For most, camping in remote nature is about freedom and escape. But for Cassie and Bradley, this night served as a stark reminder. Not all danger in the wild comes from nature. Sometimes, it's the people who find you in the middle of nowhere that are the real threat.